Noster, Noster. See, this is what I always do right at the very beginning of my show. I'm always like, Noster.
It's the future,
So,
man.
so
That's
this,
where all the people are at.
so this is a Noster only podcast. So welcome back, everybody. So the name of the show was simply Noster. That's recently been changed to simply Greeny. Uh, and so we have a very special guest on the show today. He probably doesn't really need an introduction. I'm pretty sure everybody already knows who he is. So I have some topics that I wanted to talk about today. So I'm just gonna go ahead and run through a list of things that I want to kind of discuss a little bit, and we don't have to hit every single one of them. You know, we can kind of go wherever the conversation takes us.
Embrace
But
the chaos.
yeah,
We're going everywhere.
I'm just so excited to have you on, and thanks for coming on the show, man.
Dude,
So
absolutely. I love connecting with all the Nostr friends. We're full of weirdos who are seeking truth and not afraid to speak our minds, and the only social media where you can say whatever the heck you want and you can't be banned for it. So it's a perfect place to just air everything out and see the real side of people and what they believe, and it's just amazing. So being able to talk with people face to face is super cool. I've seen your account several times, so fact we can kind of finally chat is awesome. Super happy
yeah,
to be here.
yeah, it's like the first time I'm not meeting you in real life, but first time we've ever really been able to talk. Uh, so I'm just gonna go ahead and run through some of the things that's on my mind, and we'll just kind of go from there. So, uh, since we're both already on Nostr and we're both already into Bitcoin and stuff like that, we can pretty much kind of skip past most of that because we're already on the same page. We already know what's going on with Bitcoin. We already know what's going on with Nostr. So, so I have carnivore, uh, creation like God and stuff, sunlight and sun, um, history and lies, Israel, Jews, genocidal pedophiles, skin health, uh, the flat earth, obviously, the dimming, like chemtrails, uh, NASA and their moon landing, grounding.
Allegedly.
Yeah, yeah, grounding, the Epstein files, and EMF.
Wow,
So,
we really are getting everywhere in this one. Let's go.
so a lot of this stuff, I don't know how far how deep down each rabbit hole we want to go, but like that's just some of the things that's on my mind and some of the stuff that I wanted to talk about.
Yeah,
Or
I mean, you pretty much just threw out most of the things that are on my mind all the time, just going through my brain every day as I'm just walking around, getting my grounding in sunlight like you talked about. I'm always out just trying to get my steps in, just in the world, just observing things around me, and these are all the things that catch my mind the most because a lot of those things you mentioned are most not all are things that people aren't even aware are happening around them. Some of them are, like the Epstein stuff obviously is the biggest news of the week right now, but that is just the tip of the iceberg to
right,
the things that are being hidden from us and are just slowly being having the cat let out of the bag, and the more people we have talking about it, the better, because I'm sure you can agree that as these truths have been unveiled to me, it's completely changed my life and how I view everything, and it's so enlightening and important to shed off the nonsense and the lies that we've been fed our whole lives to figure out what the truth is and do our best to find it. And I know that none of us are perfect. We all have things that we're wrong about, I'm sure, but we have to do our best. And the best way to get there is by just talking about it and being completely open communication all the time, which is why Noster is so great because that's where you can do that. So yeah, happy to take it whichever direction you want, my friend.
Yeah. So we'll just start at the top. So carnivore. So I haven't started the carnivore diet yet, but I'm very interested in it. And I wanted to kind of so from what you're saying is mostly like ground beef, steak, salt, water, and that's pretty much it. Or like what what would you recommend when it comes to starting or just trying to experiment with it? Like how should I get started?
Yeah, so I would say so my own podcast, I have a ton of episodes about carnivore I've done with amazing doctors and regular people who have done this diet and found it fixed so many issues for them. For myself personally, the biggest things that changed for me was mental, for sure. My brain just fires on such a higher clip now than it did before, and you nailed it. It's literally just all animal products. So there's a few different tiers to it. The beginner tier, I guess you could call it, is only things that come from animals. So any kind of meat, dairy is okay, and salt is the main condiment because pepper and seasoning, those are plants. So anything that comes from plants you can't have. So you cut all that out. And if you want to go to the true top tier level, it's called the lion diet, where that is only ruminant beef and salt and water. So steak, salt, and water only, not even other types of meat like chicken and pork, and not even dairy. And personally, for me, I went through a several different experiments on different types of diet a few years ago to see what is the truth here. Because, like we were saying before, there's so much noise around this, and food is one of the biggest ones where you have vegans, vegetarians, pescatarians, all the way to carnivore, and there's just so many different types of diets. Everyone's saying that their diet is the best. You got the repeat people who say that you need all this sugar all the time, and I just want to figure out what I want to test myself and see what actually works the best. So I did vegan for like a week and it was fucking terrible. Everything tastes like shit. I don't want to eat vegetables and fake meat and fake cheese. It's all it tastes like terrible. So that was quickly gone and I had no energy. So that's the easiest one to get rid of. And then at the same time, I was starting to follow more Instagram people who were talking about just more meat centric diets. So the Paul Saladino and the Carnivore Aurelius, these are a couple of big accounts a lot of people know of where they are saying that steak and meat is really good for you, but also you need fruit and all this stuff. They're basically like cutting out the vegetables, saying vegetables are bad. And so that kind of made sense to me because okay, like the vegetables are the part of the plant that doesn't want to be eaten. It's the leaves. It's the parts that are full of defense chemicals that are trying to ward off predators, and you have to have a very specific, highly evolved gut to eat that stuff, and we don't have that. So I took out the vegetables, and I felt a little bit better. Pretty much in just a few weeks, I was like, wow, that's interesting. I was told that these were good for me, and they're actually not. So for that, I did like 6 months of meat, fruit, and honey, and felt much better. Felt really good. And then I found Dr. Anthony Chafee. I would say is probably the guy who carnivore pilled me, and he just said, take it one step further. No fruit. Fruit's not even good for you. So that was kind of a shocker because all the fruit stuff sounded interesting. Uh, but I took that out and tried that for 90 days. And I felt even better. I felt even better doing that, and I had even more energy and even less aches and pains. And at this point, I'm 31 years old, doing probably, I'm not 100% perfect, like 95%. I cheat every once in a while. But when I'm fully strict on carnivore and even more strict on the lion diet, which is that only beef, salt, and water, I feel so much better than I did when I was like 18 or any point in my life. In my 30s now, I feel better. More brain power, zero aches and pains ever. Like I feel like I can do anything. It's to me that's the best. So to answer your original question of how you should do it, you could do the steps like I did, where you start with meat, fruit, and honey, like a lot of people on Instagram talk about, and then you could just cut things out one at a time until you get to only beef, and you're just having steak, salt, and water every day. Or you could go cold turkey if you want to, and just go straight to the lion diet, steak, salt, and water. And just keep in mind that when you go through that change, your body is going to be really scratching at your back because you have a high addiction to carbs. Like carbs are extremely addicting. All the carbs are turned into sugar in your body, and it's an addiction like any other drug. And there have been tons of studies done on this that sugar is literally more addicting than cocaine. Like they've done studies with rats where they give them both of them, and they're obsessed with the sugar more than the coke. And I had a guy on my podcast. He was what's his name? It was Lion, Lash the Lion. His name is Lash the Lion. He's on Nostr actually, by the way. And he had a lot of drug problems in his life. He was addicted to cocaine for a lot of the years, and he confirmed, yeah, it's harder to get rid of sugar than it is to give up cocaine, like 100%. So this is real. Sugar is really hard. It really pulls you emotionally because it basically turns food into a pleasure seeking activity rather than a fueling activity. And because when you eat ice cream or candy or fruit, your brain lights up with pleasure and joy. But when you eat real food that's made for humans, which is meat, it's enjoyable, but it's not giving you that like crazy dopamine rush that's manipulative to your mind, and it's more for it nourishes your body. Hope that makes sense and answers your question. That's how I would answer it.
So do you eat like chicken or pork or anything like that, or just beef?
Yeah, like probably 99% beef. I have ground beef, I have steak, and that's pretty much it. And salt is the only condiment I use. I gave up pepper, and I don't. Here's the thing too, is after you do it for a while, I know that the people listening who haven't done carnivore will hear this and say, "That sounds so boring. Don't you just get so tired of eating meat every day?" And I will say that for the first couple of weeks, it is rough because you're so used to eating all these bazillion different things all the time, but your taste buds change. Your taste buds over time adapt and get to where I believe is a more natural state of being a carnivorous being that we are. And when I'm locked in, dude, every single day I'm so excited to eat that bowl of meat. Like it never gets old. It tastes better and better and better over time the longer that you're locked in. And you start seeing these other people eating all this sugar and just thinking like, what are you doing? Like you're poisoning your brain with that stuff. And it really is interesting. It gets easier and more enjoyable over time, and it's I think that's the optimal diet for humans for sure.
So just like ground beef and salt, and that's
And keep in mind that you want to make sure you're eating lots of fat when you're doing this because that's your new energy source. You're switching from being fueled by carbs to being fueled by fat. And that's called ketosis is what you're going into. And it's a much cleaner, more stable, uh, just all around better form of energy because you're no longer going through all these spikes and crashes you are with insulin spikes from carbs. When
right.
you're fueled on fat, it's much more stable. You wake up every day with more energy. That's one of the things I noticed as well is I used to have to drag myself out of bed in the morning, and now I sleep better and I jump out of bed ready to go for the day. It's just your energy is always more stable, and you never need to go eat carbs to get a bump of energy basically.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
I think
excited to see how it works for you, bro. You should definitely keep in touch and let me know how it goes because
yeah.
it's a journey. I followed a lot of people go through the process as well as myself, obviously, and I've never heard anyone have a bad experience if they really stuck with it for 90 days
So
strictly.
how
And
long have you been doing this?
so I started in September 2023. And
Okay.
that's when I fully locked in. And like I said, I'm not 100% perfect. I go off and on every once in a while, and certain people will talk shit about that. Like, yeah, whatever. Like for the Super Bowl, I'm gonna go like have a couple beers. Like
Right.
every once in a while I'll cheat, but I do it with the mindset of really observing how my body reacts to this, because every single time I do this, I can tell that I lose a notch of those benefits I talked about. And what's fascinating is uh, you will find yourself literally reverting to more of an NPC the more carbs you eat. I can tell this. If I have a little bit of alcohol, or if I have some fruit or some carbs, I can very viscerally tell the next day I will be more susceptible to just scrolling on my phone and just wanting to watch TV or watch sports or do something stupid and annoying, or not annoying, but just time wasting.
Yeah.
These things, it becomes more tempting when you're eating carbs, which is crazy because it's literally numbing your brain.
Okay.
It's dulling your sharp testosterone charged motivation in life, and it's getting you into these NPC tendencies, which is really crazy. And that's why I recommend other people really do carnivore for a long time and then feel in if it, well, I should say this. Some people have addictive tendencies, and if you even experiment with bringing carbs back in, it's going to just send you down a slippery slope. So you have to be cognizant of that if that's the way you are. For me personally, it's easy for me to have a cheat day here and there and just go straight back to normal. And it's always fascinating to really feel the difference, to get that reminder, okay, this is why we do this. I don't want to be feeling 70% of myself. I want to be 100% and feel awesome every day.
Yeah. I think the hardest part for me would be to stop drinking beer.
Yeah, as you're drinking the Bud Light in the background. Yeah, I mean, to me, alcohol was never a hard one for me to completely get rid of. But I will say but the hardest one for me to get rid of was mac and cheese. I fucking love mac and cheese. It's just so tasty, and ice cream is really hard for me too. But like I said, the longer you go on it, and just keep a journal of the way that your body feels, and it gets easier over time. These things that you really want to jump back to, they start to fade away, and you really free yourself from that addiction over time, because it is an addiction. That's something we have to fully accept.
Right, right. Yeah, and I saw something recently about how it's like being sprayed. The wheat that they use for the beer is being sprayed
Oh,
with
dude.
pesticides and herbicides. It's like you're drinking Roundup to a certain extent.
Yeah,
Or the
not only is beer super sprayed with glyphosate and all these other chemicals, if you're drinking it out of a can, I forget the exact scientific process here, but something about the acidity of the beer, I think it is, actually degrades the lining inside the can, so it infuses even more chemicals into the drink. So it's really full of shit. I hate to
that's
tell you.
almost like if you're drinking water out of a plastic water bottle, you're getting
Yeah,
the
yeah,
microplastics
yeah.
from.
Exactly. And what people don't know is for cans, like the beer cans, there's a plastic lining inside of the aluminum. There's a chemical process there that happens with the like I said, I can't remember exactly. I think it's the acidity of the beer. It degrades that a little bit and leaches it into your drink. So it's similar to having a plastic bottle. It's even worse if it's hot out, obviously, because the heat will put even more of it in there. And these are all things that is just, it sucks. Like there's poison everywhere, and
It
this is
makes
why
me
you really.
terrified. It makes me scared to I'm scared to eat anything. I'm scared to drink anything because it's like people think you're crazy when you're like, well, everything's poisoned. Like, uh, you know, you look up at the skies and they're spraying you. You try to drink water and there's shit in it. You try to do, you know, it's almost like you have to try really, really hard. Like you have to go way
Hmm.
out of your way just to try to avoid these things, but you can't avoid it. You can't avoid all of it, right?
Yeah, everything's being fucked with, and this is why another important point for people to understand is that you have to just do your very best and understand that being 100% perfect all the time is not always a an attainable goal. So don't beat yourself up about it. Just do your best, spread the word on this stuff, and find your balance where it works for you, and you can do well without being constantly just scared and paranoid of everything. And if you have access to good food, a good farmer with good meat, that's definitely a huge thing that people should be looking for, because food is so critical. But it's just about finding a balance, and doing your best to find just a healthy, happy medium where you can be as healthy as you can without just being stressed out all the time.
And so I've watched a lot of your things about like the one you had with Stephen Luca with about
Yeah,
the that was a good one. And
it's on your
yeah,
balls, people. It's on your
I used
balls.
to live I used to live at the beach, and so I love getting out there in the sun. And I pretty I think most people don't realize how important it actually is to get sun. And like you still have doctors out there trying to tell people to wear sunscreen, wear sunglasses, cover up when you go outside. And it's almost to the point where like you can't even trust doctors anymore. I don't know. It's like I'm losing faith in all of the institutions, like the teachers that are teaching in school. I feel like they're teaching the wrong things. I feel like the doctors are trying to give you the wrong health advice. I feel like the preachers at the church are trying to fuck kids. I feel like uh I just feel like every like big institution or like legacy things that like I grew up my whole life trusting all these things, and now it's like all at once you find out that it's all, everybody's lying to you about everything. So
Yeah, that's the thing. So when you look at the institutions that are teaching these people, just the doctors, for example, the schooling system that they're put through is completely owned and controlled by a clear financial interest from the pharmaceutical industry. So a lot of these, all pretty much all these doctors, let's say all of them, they go through the medical school and they have like one class or a couple hours of nutrition in the entire thing. They just aren't taught about the holistic health stuff. Like they're all just taught what drugs to give people to treat symptoms and keep them in the system basically without telling them that explicitly. They're being trained in a way to keep people sick and just taking more drugs because that's where the money is. There's no money in curing people. So this is why you have to really find the doctors that have woke up from that and figured out that they're in a scam system and are fighting back against it. And that's why I mentioned earlier Dr. Anthony Chafee. He's a legend. He's probably my favorite out there right now. He's going hard. And there's more and more every single day. I'm finding more of these young doctors on Instagram who have figured this out and said, "Wow, this is really fucked up." I am looking back at my whole medical education, and yeah, they're pretty much just teaching you to give people drugs and not actually heal them in a natural way. And people are looking at the history of the way that people used to be healed by, stuff like giving people healthier food, having a sun deck on the top of a hospital where the patients would sunbathe in the sun and that would heal them naturally. All these things that we're now told the opposite. Sun's bad for you, meat is bad for you, eat more seed oil to lower your cholesterol, all this nonsense that is going to make people more sick so they can keep coming back for more drugs. That's what it comes down to.
yeah, so so tell me a little bit about EMF, the electromagnetic. That's electromagnetic frequencies. Is that what that is?
Yep, yep.
So I'm I've watched a few videos on it, and now I feel like like whenever I'm not using my phone, I try to keep it on airplane mode, or um, it it almost sounds like a conspiracy theory, like the people that are turning off their Wi-Fi at night, or like because they don't want to be absorbed by all the radiation or whatever. That I don't even know what this stuff is, but it's like uh, if there's all these radio towers everywhere, and I feel like we're just being attacked on every single level when it comes to stuff like this. And so um I kind of wanted to hear what you think about that.
Can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, you're chopping out a little bit there. I lost you for a sec.
So I kind of lost my train of thought, but
Just
uh,
EMFs, like EMFs explains.
yeah, explain a little bit more about EMFs.
Yeah, so this is a perfect tie into what I said earlier of you can't let yourself get too insanely paranoid about things you can't control, and EMFs is one of those things because they're fucking everywhere. Anyone that has a cell phone on or using their laptop on Wi-Fi, like you probably are, I'm using it right now. We can't be perfect about everything. I will say that I know some really high level people out there who understand all this stuff. They have a really locked in system at their house where they only use plugged in Ethernet cords for internet. That is the pinnacle. That's if people have their own house and you can do that, you absolutely should and completely ditch Wi-Fi. That's the peak. I'm not there yet myself, but I'm working on it. And I will. I actually have two things right next to me I can show you. First of all, here's my. I have on my phone right here, literally right now, airplane mode on because I'm not using my phone. And especially if you ever have your phone in your pocket or you're holding it with you, you don't ever want these radio waves up against your skin. So the people wearing your smartwatches, that is the stupidest thing you can do. And people have anything that you're wearing that is emitting Bluetooth or Wi-Fi or data pinging signals. You don't want that touching your body. Don't, and especially not in your pocket where it's right next to your balls. That's the worst place to have it. Or women, I see a lot of women putting their phone like in their bra, which is absolutely like that's right next to your heart and your breast tissue. That's going to give you breast cancer for sure, especially if you have 5G on. These are horrible things, and we can just take the best steps we can. And another thing I have is this orgonite block I travel with. This is, some would call it woo woo, but I think that there is evidence that orgonite is actually useful for this stuff. And I can tell you I believe it because this thing is actually really heavy and I still travel with it because I just keep it on me when I keep it right next to me when I sleep. And as I'm using Wi-Fi right now, I have it on a desk right next to me. I've done, I think, maybe just one episode on that about orgone energy. If you type in orgone on my podcast, but that's worth researching. It's quite an interesting thing, and a lot of evidence is out there that it neutralizes these waves in a way that makes them healthier for humans to be around. So I think that there's something to that as well. And yeah, like I said before, if you have your own home situation where you can really lock it in, get wired internet so you have no Wi-Fi in your house. And even if you have to have Wi-Fi in your house, turn it off at night because when you sleep, you have a very specific brain frequency that puts you into the sleep state and the REM sleep and the dreaming. And these EMFs are really disruptive to that. And I had a crazy experience when I was in Costa Rica last year with a bunch of Nostr friends. I don't know if you were following me back then, but the Primal House, um, the room that I was in had one of the
You
Wi-Fi routers that
Primal
I'd always
House?
turn. What's that?
You've been to the Primal House? The Primal House? Sorry, I don't know. Can you hear me?
Oh, I lost you again. Are you there?
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Hello? Yo.
Hey, I'm back.
All right, sweet.
So,
I was talking about the Wi-Fi at the Primal House.
yeah.
So so the room I was staying in had one of the Wi-Fi routers in the house, and all the people in there were very health focused. So we agreed like every night we turn that off. So I would turn that Wi-Fi router off every night before I went to bed, and I there was a single night where I forgot to do that after a couple of weeks, and that was literally the worst sleep night I had on the entire trip. So I could absolutely tell when I turned the Wi-Fi off and had zero EMFs around the room was when I slept the best. And when I forgot to do that and the Wi-Fi was left on, I had a bad sleep. It was crazy. And I really recommend people try that out. They have a hard time sleeping, or even if you don't, just turn off the Wi-Fi and see if you notice the difference. You might have more vivid dreams, but you're eliminating these non-native frequencies that are bouncing all around us, and you can only have good from that. It's only going to be beneficial. And if you want to take next steps, you can look into orgone energy, like I have here, the orgonite. That I think that's interesting, and just continue making those steps because your sleep is so important.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll kind of go to a different topic. So, uh, the even here's what I'm having a hard time with here recently is even people that are already into Bitcoin and people that are really on Noster. It's like most of the people that are on there still think that we went to the moon. They still think that there's astronauts floating around out in outer space. And I'm like, all you got to do is watch like a couple videos to see that it's all complete bullshit, right?
Yeah, God bless them, man. They still have some propaganda they have yet to clear out of their brain, and they don't even know it's there. And I don't even remember when I officially confirmed that the moon landing was nonsense. It was probably a couple of years ago, but yeah, it's people need to really listen to the opposing side on that. I know some Bitcoiners who are actually really hard line against me for talking about this. Like, how dare you? This is such a great accomplishment that we had in our history. Like, how could you be against this? But it didn't happen, people. It's just, and I that's why I made the Flat Earth series, a video series on my Rumble channel and YouTube channel, and also on my podcast on Fountain, which has video too. You have to go down this rabbit hole and learn the truth on this because it's embarrassing to think that we did this. It's when you actually look at the evidence and the videos that they gave us and all the inconsistencies everywhere, it's just there's such a laundry list of things that make no sense. And yeah, it's time to wake up.
Yeah. And so I kind of put it in the same category, like the people that still think we went to the moon are the people that still think the Earth is round, and and I'm surprised I have any followers left. I'm surprised everybody hasn't just completely.
Same.
I'm surprised everybody just hasn't completely unfollowed me because I literally sound like a crazy person. But uh, it's like once you see some of these things, it's like holy shit. Or like really
How did
every
I ever believe this in the first place? Is the thing that I ask myself all the time because in order to and just to real quick touch on that point before we move on is you said that the same people who believe we landed on the moon believe the earth is round. There are actually a lot of people out there who know the moon landing is fake, but they still think we're on a globe. So those are the people I try to focus on because they've at least had that first chink in the armor of realizing that NASA is capable of just completely lying to us and taking our tax money to create phony theatrical productions to give us a story that never happens. So the people that have understand that one, it's time to take them to the next step and say, okay, what else has NASA lied about? Is it possible they actually lied not just about the moon, but our own world as well, where there's actually a lot more incentive to give people this idea that we're on a spinning rock in space that is completely random, came from a big bang and evolution and all this other stuff that basically convinces people that it's all just random chance. And we're here because a bazillion different things happened perfectly in a random way that got us here. when, as you mentioned earlier, the creation side, that is actually a brand new one for me. Just last year, as I was going down the rabbit hole of the Earth and cosmology and the moon and all this stuff, I completely came to the conclusion that evolution is a total scam. There's no way that this is how we got here. This is not random chance. This is a created world. And while I am still undecided and confused in general about the final answer on religion, like what is the answer to the details beyond this is a creation. Like to me, it's completely confirmed that there is a God that's created this world, and we are in a created realm. But I still haven't figured out the details beyond that yet. Like Christianity, Islam, Judaism. There's like Buddhism. There's so many different religions out there that all have, it seems like, different pieces to the puzzle. And it's a crazy rabbit hole, and probably it might be the biggest rabbit hole ever of like, where do we come from? And that's what I'm still working on myself, but I'm always open minded to hearing from other people. I think that's going to be the big one.
Yeah. So I was actually so excited about doing this podcast last night. I was having a hard time sleeping because I was just thinking about like all the things I wanted to ask you about and stuff I wanted to talk about, and I was thinking like, how like ants build like a mound, and they're all in this colony doing these tunnels, working for the queen. They're all these ants are living their life, in their ant hill. And then it's the same way with like bees and getting the honey and doing all this and doing all that. And they're all working in this little colony. Sometimes I'm almost like, is it the same thing with us, like on planet Earth, and we're all just doing our little thing, and something else or somebody else is like looking down on us the same way we look down on like an anthill or the bees or something like. Um, I don't know. That's kind of a crazy thought that I had, but uh, I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out. Like I believe in God. I would rather say that I'm a Christian than like not a Christian. But like I still have a lot of questions too. I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe
that's the thing, is that it seems like all of them have some holes and all of them have some truths. And for example, the Bible undoubtedly has a lot of serious truth in it that is much closer to what we see with our own eyes than what science has told us. Like, for example, the very first page, first couple paragraphs, it says, God created a firmament to separate the waters above from the waters below. And it's crazy that 99% of Christians will just gloss right over that and say, oh, like, whatever, it was just a metaphor or something. No. Look at the stars at night. You can see these are frequencies of light moving around in what looks like water. It looks like there's water up there,
right,
and there's water above and there's water below, and then God created the sun and the moon and the planets and all the way that it describes all these things. And there's so many examples, and I'm terrible at remembering. I don't know the scripture very well at all. But when you go through the flat Earth rabbit hole, and I put some clips of this in my flat Earth series, it's crazy how many things in the Bible are right on the nose, where the modern science explanation is nonsense. It makes no sense. So it clearly has some truth in it. The question is it the full truth, or is there other layers of psyops on there where you have to dig through the lines a little bit? That's what I don't know, because I know there are some people that think that Christianity was just another Jewish psyop that Jews created to deceive the masses and keep the goyim in sort of a softened state of, oh, like, love your neighbor, love everybody, like everyone's great, and to worship their Messiah. Like, I don't know if you've heard of Adam Green, but he did a podcast episode on Jake Shields' podcast recently that I listened to, and that's his whole thing. He's going through all. He has tons of receipts. He's going through all the scripture, basically making the case that the Jews created the entire Abrahamic matrix of Christianity, Islam, and Judaism, and they're all part of the same control mechanism. So I don't fucking know, basically. Like, I am still very much a beginner on that rabbit hole, and it's fascinating. But like you said, I want to live in. If I have to choose one, I want to live in Christian civilization because I believe those are my favorite people. Those are people I have the most in common with, and I support that if I have to. But I'm not sure if it's the final truth yet. I'm still learning.
Right, right. Yeah. So, so I'll kind of pivot on to something else. So, who is who do you think is funding the chemtrails? Like, is it Bill Gates? Is it like, and how do they let these? How do they let them get away with it, or is it governments doing it, or like you look up and you see that they're spraying the earth with shit with the chemtrails, and it's like, well, what's really going on there? Are they trying to block the sun, or is it just? What are your thoughts on that?
That's a really good question, and to me, that question is one of those things that I it's really hard to get a clear answer on it. And because it's intentionally kept so obfuscated. If I had to take a swing at it, I would say I think it's a mixture of different parties who all have some reason to want this done. I think it's a mixture of people who think that the global warming is killing us and we need to block the sun to save us, which is insane, obviously, and other people who know that it's poisoning everybody and the food and the water and the soil, and they want everyone poisoned, so they're doing it for that reason. And there could be other people who are involved in some sort of stock trading where they want to understand like which crops are going to be killed off and which ones don't, so they can make money. There's lots of different incentives at play here, and it's tough. If anyone out there has good evidence for why they think it's the government or the Jews or the Bill Gates is whatever, I like it's hard. It's all sort of a clusterfuck in my brain personally because there isn't a lot of hard evidence out there for really proving what is. And some people they think they have evidence, but it's kind of suspicious. Like it could be part of the psyop to point blame in different directions. So ultimately, what I think is the most important thing we should be doing, rather than spending all of our energy trying to figure out who is it, I would rather spend my energy just waking people up on the fact that it's happening. So get people to start looking up and observing their world around them and see what's happening. Because if we can just create a critical mass of people knowing this is happening, understanding, that will naturally bring in more and more people with more and more power and more money and more control who are able to get those answers. So that's where I'm focusing, and that's what I'm going to continue to work on in my own blog, my podcast, and my content. So,
Yeah, keep cutting in and out on you. So I guess we'll just make this like a three-part, two or three-part series. So,
yeah, I'm down for that.
yeah,
Either way.
so, so the
I hear a
series,
lot of wind noise right now. Is there like wind flying through your windows or something?
is that better?
Yeah, yeah, that's better.
Okay, um, so the same way we absorb things when we eat it or drink it, we also can absorb things through our skin, like if you're putting on lotion or I watched your thing on skin and skincare. And so um I saw where there was a guy that put I think it was lard, like pork lard or something on his skin, and it definitely helped his situation. Um, so is put is I guess lard is good the same way like tallow is good, right? Or what's
Yes.
the deal? What's the deal with that?
Yeah, so from what I learned from the podcast, and I'm not a skin expert by any means, but apparently lard is even closer to human skin than tallow, so that's even better. But they're both really good for your skin. They're both fats. You don't want to use oils on your skin; they're unnatural. You want to use fat because that's what we're made of. Um, but yeah, that's exactly right. You want to be really careful about what you put on your skin because your skin is a mouth. It's literally absorbing everything you put onto it. People, like girls, put just pounds and pounds of makeup on their face every day, just covering themselves with chemicals, and they don't understand why their hormones are fucked. It's because you're filling yourself up with chemicals all the time. This goes straight through your skin into your bloodstream. Your skin is porous; it absorbs this stuff. So if you're putting poison on it, you're going to be poisoned. That's how it works. And uh, it's this is a mindset shift people need to have and understand that everything you put on your skin is going to end up inside your body. And if you wouldn't eat it, I would not put it on my skin. It's that simple. And there are good ways to detox, as we can talk about, and other things that are really good for our skin, like getting out in the sunshine, like we talked about. Sun is really good in detoxing. That goes straight through your skin and literally penetrates through and upregulates your organs inside your body if you're outside with your shirt off. This is one of the things we talked about in that episode with Stephen Lupka that you mentioned. Yeah, but don't put chemicals on your skin. Get more sun on your skin. Those are the two best places to start.
And and kind of to take this to one other thing that I was thinking about. So there's probably like civilizations that were way more advanced than we are now, um, that got like deleted from history or wiped from history, or um, I've been watching a lot of stuff about that recently, and that's very interesting.
Yeah, for sure. The whole Tartaria
Yeah.
slash Millennial Kingdom idea. This is one of the things that I'm also not 100% certain exactly what the truth is, but there's definitely something there. That we know for sure. The more you look around and really study the stuff and find these old government buildings, the capitol buildings in every state, and the incredible architecture that was built around the last several thousand years that's way more advanced than what we have now, that should cause you to ask questions. Now, the thing that I'm not 100% sure on yet is, I don't know if you've looked into this at all, but the well, first of all, there's the Tartaria hypothesis that there was lost civilization that was super advanced, had free energy, and extremely high understanding of frequencies and healing powers. The the different hypothesis for that is that this was the millennial kingdom, and this is kind of the Christian angle that Jesus Christ was the leader for 1,000 years and ruled over the land and created all of these buildings with angels. So to certain people, that'll sound totally woo woo and out of left field, but personally, I don't have a better explanation, so I'm open to all of it. I'm not sure. I think that's a very interesting idea. And that is also connected to the whole little season theory that basically makes the case. I don't know if you looked into this, but essentially saying that the entire biblical timeline that was given to Christians was wrong. The millennial kingdom already happened, and that ended around 1776, and we are currently in what's called Satan's little season of a period of time where Satan is loose to deceive the nations. And obviously, all of that is sort of tied into the Christian ideology. And like I said before, I'm not 100% sure if that's the whole truth, but man, there's some pretty compelling evidence there. It would make a lot of things make sense of why everything is so deceptive now. So I definitely recommend people look into that. I haven't done any episodes specifically on the little season yet, but I would like to because it's fascinating. I've definitely put a lot of episodes about that on my Rumble channel from other people's channels. So if people go to my Rumble channel, go to my playlist, I have a little season playlist on there.
Yeah, so I guess the thing that doesn't make sense for me is uh, when in a time period when they didn't have power tools, and what you're talking about is all the time is like it's the horse and buggy, type days, and you mean to tell me that they're doing all this stuff? uh it's kind of like, okay, well, was it aliens or was it a different more advanced civilization? Like, it wasn't just a bunch of like guys, you know, with the horse and buggy with no power tools, trying to figure all that. None of that whole story doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, something's missing. The question is, what is it that's missing? And the one that even the normies know is a big question is the pyramids in Egypt. That's just the tip of the iceberg, but that's a good one you can look at and say the official story makes no sense. The official story is literally that they had donkeys and slaves that made this thing of these just 100-ton massive stones perfectly constructed in a certain way, and they just found lidar scans last year that showed there's like half a mile of pillar
Under the
coils
Yeah,
underneath. Are you
yep,
kidding me? This was not made by slaves. Something was
right,
involved in this that was not human, at least
right.
not human as we know it. So something's missing in the story. We just have to figure out what it is, and I'm not 100% certain what it is, but there's something there, and this is why it's so fascinating. We need to talk about it and figure out what happened.
Yeah, I think I just saw that yesterday, where it's like a mile or so down, like perfectly straight cylinders under the pyramids. It's like, no, they didn't have that. Supposedly, they didn't have the capabilities to do that.
Yeah.
So uh, maybe eventually we'll figure out what's really going on with all this stuff.
That's the hope, man. And that's what I'm trying to help push forward, and you're trying to do it with this too, and we're all trying to get the word out together and figure out what the truth is, because we need to stop being scared about maybe getting some things wrong in this pursuit of the truth, which a lot of people are scared to even talk because they think, oh, if I don't say everything completely correct, then uh, this is a bad thing. No, we need everyone on this, and just putting our brain power to this, try to figure out what the truth is about our history. Because if we don't know our history, then what do we have? We need to know where we came from. This is the most fascinating and important thing ever, because if we don't know where we came from, we're not going to be able to figure out where we're going.
And if they're lying to you about everything, then the people that are lying should be held accountable for that also.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we'll know who our real friends and enemies are for sure. That's a great point.
Yeah. But a lot of people might be lying to you, and they don't even know they're lying because they believe the lies themselves.
Oh,
But
absolutely. And there's lots of good people out there. They're just sucked into this lie. Like we talked about earlier, that all those doctors that go through the medical system, I have tons of friends who are doctors who mean the very best and they want to help people, but they were deceived. And now they have this worldview that all the sun is bad for you and meat is bad for you and eat more seed oils and everything needs drugs to fix. And I have these friends I went to college with, and I get in arguments with them all the time and just talk about there's holistic methods that are way better. And they say, oh, that's pseudoscience. That's not in the data. I didn't learn about that in school, so it's not true. And I've literally lost friendships over this, which is so sad to see. But we can be thankful that there are lots of doctors that are waking up and are spreading the word on this. And that's just one example of many. The same things are happening in the whole, uh, across all of science, because the science is such a tool of deception right now where people inside it are very smart people. They've just been fooled so hard. So we need to help them wake up too.
yeah, yeah, and so like you would think that Bitcoiners and especially people on Nostr uh, should be the ones that are like really good at calling out bullshit, or like they should be the ones that are like the most skeptical of the system, and like uh it's really blowing my mind how like how they people have people on Nostr have I posted a note about this yesterday. I think it's like they don't trust the bankers, they don't trust the politicians, they don't trust this or that. But then when it comes to the education system, uh they want to believe everything they've been taught since kindergarten. And it's like, well, what about if the same people that like co-opted the news and all these different industries, what if they also co-opted the education system? I
Yeah.
almost feel like all the stuff, a lot of it is propaganda, and um, or maybe it's more sinister than that. I don't know, but like um, it's funny how Bitcoiners will not trust this, not trust that, not trust this, not trust that. But then they're like, oh, well, my kindergarten teacher told me that there's planets that are rotating 1,000,000 miles an hour. So I got to believe that shit.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just a matter of people knowing some of the lies, but they just hit a wall and they're stuck. They don't understand that there are way more lies out there than you could even fathom. And that's one of the reasons why I've just gone totally crazy mode on Nostr the last year, is because I'm just tired of seeing these Bitcoiners getting stuck and hitting that wall. They have so much potential to go through and see all these other lies that are all around us, but they are stuck on the fiat system is bad and the politicians are bad, and that's pretty much it. They aren't
Yeah.
looking at the much deeper levels of the game here, which are right there to learn. Like we have infinite information on the internet now. All these independent people, these truth seekers who are blowing up the lies. All you have to do is just humble yourself into opening your mind and hearing what they have to say, and you will find that they make a lot more sense. And that is where I was last year when the flat Earth one came across my radar. Of course, I thought it was insane. Of course, I think it sounds stupid and crazy and makes no sense because that's what our programming has designed us to feel like when we hear that. We're designed to call those people crazy and stupid and gullible and subverting the truth movement and whatever. And all you have to do is actually listen to what they say for a good amount of time, and you realize they actually have some points.
Yeah.
And you need to stop thinking that you have all the answers because you've been propagandized for more years. It's there's a lot more to dig into.
Yeah. I think the craziest part to me is that uh so for like 200 miles from all the way around. Nobody's allowed to go there. And
Yep.
so they have every military in the world agrees on one thing. It's like we can't let anybody pass this area. You know, if you're a millionaire and you give us a lot of money, we'll let you kind of walk around for a second and take pictures.
One
But
tiny little point that you're like escorted the entire time. I know people that have done that, and they all think, oh, like I've been to Antarctica, so I know all the answers to being at Antarctica. You only get to see a tiny little piece of it to pay a shitload of money to see some penguins, and then they send you on your way.
right,
Doesn't count.
yeah. If you really try to go explore, you're gonna either get arrested or killed or who knows.
Oh, they'll shoot you down if you don't stop. And people have
Yeah,
recorded videos trying to approach it by plane and by boat, and they always get intercepted immediately and
yeah.
told, turn around now or we will shoot you down.
It's a
Like
no-fly
literally.
zone. No-fly
Yeah,
zone,
yeah.
no sail zone. Like, and that's the one thing that all these countries agree on is like they have this treaty where it's like, okay, well, everybody can have base camps set up all the way around, and we're just gonna prevent exploration. Okay, well,
Yeah.
what the fuck is going on here? Right?
Something's being hidden. And I really don't think they care about our safety and or the penguins. I think there's something bigger going on.
Yeah, clearly, clearly. But if you try to tell that to somebody that's like fresh out of law school or something, then they're going to be like, oh my gosh, you've lost your mind.
Yeah, yeah. That's indoctrination for you. They're trained to, and we can speak. I'm sure that you're in the same boat. I was here until very recently of just when I hear someone talk about flat Earth, that you're just immediately have this reaction of just laughing at them. Like that is so stupid and ridiculous that you are a crazy person,
Right.
and you haven't even. It's like a false confidence that's instilled into everybody from birth that they are. It's just it's crazy to think about. Like the very first thing that you see on the first day of kindergarten is a globe on a teacher's desk. When you're a literal infant in your crib, the first thing you see is that mobile with the planets dangling down, and all the pajamas you get is a toddler or covered in rocket ships and planets. This is lifelong indoctrination to believe something, and it's time to start asking questions about it because you'll soon find that there's a lot of holes.
Yeah. Or you turn on the TV and you see Universal Studios
Before
with
every movie.
their
Yeah,
globe, or Disney, or it's like they try to sneak it in at the very beginning of every movie. So like
yeah, yeah,
every movie I've ever seen always starts off with a fucking round globe.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
get the fuck. Y'all are the same ones that recorded the fake moon landing. Get the fuck out.
yeah. Exactly. That's it. We need more people to realize that this goes deep. It goes really, really deep.
Well, anyways, I'm not going to take up any more of your time today, but hopefully, we can make another episode together where I'm more prepared and have more of a better plan. Today, I kind of threw a lot of ideas out there, and uh, because each one of these topics we could talk about for an hour or 2 hours just on one topic. So I was
Yeah,
trying to kind of
yeah.
cram a lot of different things into one short, episode. But maybe in the future we can talk about some more stuff.
Absolutely, man. I'm down. Let's do it. It's there's too many things out there to discuss in one short hour, that's for sure. So we'll definitely do another one sometime. I'm looking forward to it.
Thanks so much, Ben.
Awesome, man. See you later.
Peace out.